Hey guys,
Can't handle
welcome
it.
back to Seller Sessions on a Monday, day 752 in the Big Brother house. I've got these crazy ladies with me. I'm sure they're going to show me up on the court at some point. They've been conspiring against me in the background. With me is Cassandra Craven, Sylvia Stovanovic. I've started, didn't I? And Ferris. How we doing, guys? You all right?
Good, thank you.
Did you ladies have, to use Cassandra's word, did you have a fabulous weekend?
My weekend was definitely not as fabulous as Cassandra's hair.
Okay.
So jealous.
Excellent.
I was working. Sundays were my work day, so I was geeking out, but I wrote a whole follow-up sequence so that I felt productive.
Cool. Well, today we're going to be talking about personal branding, aren't we? And we're going to do product branding. So let's go around the room quickly for those who are not acquainted with you guys. Starting with you, Cassandra, do you want to give the audience a little bit of background on yourself?
Hi, I'm Cassandra Craven, Helium 10 social media manager. I'm sure you've seen me on many a podcast recently promoting the Branded by Women Summit, which I'm very excited about. Thank you, Danny. Looking forward to talking about all things social media.
Excellent. And to you, Sylv?
Can I just say something? Cassandra, I couldn't hear a word you were saying, so I don't know if it's my microphone.
I could hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear that now? Can you hear my voice, Sylv?
I can hear you.
Okay, Cassandra. Go on, you speak, Cassandra, so we can hear you.
I can hear you now.
Okay. Maybe I was too quick.
Can you hear me now?
But you go,
Sylvia. On the last podcast, I had massive issues, and nobody told me about it, so I didn't look very good. You guys have to tell me this time if it happens.
Okay.
But what I do is I have a lingerie business, predominantly in Poland. I've got a brick and mortar store. I do wholesale, and I do e-commerce as well.
Excellent. And Anne?
Hello. My name is Anne. I have an Amazon business, e-commerce business, and I love the creative side of it and the social media. That's definitely my favorite part of it.
So reconciliation of your accounts and stuff is not up there in your wish list of to-dos?
Definitely not. I have an extreme aversion to spreadsheets.
Okay, that sounds good. As long as you know your numbers, that's fine. So at the bottom of the screen, someone's joking. Facebook user Sylvana. Sylvana's here with us. Owen says, hi, everyone. Florence says, good morning. Can't really miss this, but we'll have to tune in every now and again as I really need to get some work done. Florence, stay around. I'm sure they're going to embarrass me. Don't you worry about
Danny,
that.
I was going to say, I feel like the light just changed. Did you turn it down so we can't tell if you get bright red?
What you mean with the lights gone? If I get blushed, you mean? Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Let's see. If,
because I feel like something changed.
Yeah, no, it's the light outside. The door swung. It looks like. Can't you see it? The light's coming in from there.
Yeah. Danny's scared.
I am. Good morning, ladies and Danny. Hello, Tiff. Good morning. How are you?
Hello.
Mr. Tree says, great channel. Yari is here saying hello. Nalia is here. Hello, everyone. Facebook user Owen. We talk about this. Leave. Okay. We'll leave that one off. Danny has a sexy voice. I don't know about that.
I agree.
Right. Who have we got in the feed? Lazari is here. Corina is here. John Miller's here. Sahal is here. Yario here. Armand's here. Jordan's here. Matthew's here as well. Right. So we're going to be talking about personal brand. You guys are at different stages of developing your personal brand, right? And we're also going to talk about the branding of products, which comes into play with Cassandra here as well, because obviously Helium 10 being one of the leading softwares in the space. So let's start with the product end of things, and then we're going to move into personal branding. So can you give a little background on what you feel is, in order to really get a product noticed in terms of social media, Cassandra, what are some of the key things that people need to do on their own products themselves?
So I think a lot of times with promoting your products on social media, there's the on the surface approach of what does your product do? What are the who, what, when, whys, where, tell me all the ins and outs. But I think the next layer to it is going deeper to that emotional connection. How does this product invigorate your life? How can you implement it into your life, your daily routine? How does it provide for you, your friends, your family? I'm going to use like a kitchen tool example, let's say.
Like daily habits you're talking about, yeah? Making it part of your daily habits, yeah.
Exactly. So it's kind of that layer of what is the emotional connection that you can bring to your product, to your audience, and how do you make that connection happen? It's not just about the on the surface of, oh my God, this is the fastest or this is the best, which those hype words get played out so quickly, especially in this space. So you want to make sure you bring that emotional connection to your social media platforms when you're talking about your products and really give them an inside look at how it's constructed. What's the behind the scenes? What does this product mean to you, especially if that has more of an emotional, personal connection to you?
That makes sense. And with your product yourself, how do you create that? I'm not going to say emotional connection because you done me last week. So let's just say, how do you make that connection with your audience?
Well, Danny, you know I love to connect. I can't do it.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
You open the door. Anyway, no. Yes. I like made my own self blush. I don't know how I did that.
There you go.
So yes, I 100% agree. And I think, you know, it's different for different products, right? I sell products for family, and what we do, you know, is I think I always talk about lifestyle images, being really important and showing, you know, Instagram especially is really about an ideal. Instagram and Pinterest, you know, they're selling an ideal lifestyle. We all have this kind of our Instagram life in our head, our Instagram dream life of who will you be in the kitchen if you are using this. For me, it's what I'm promoting an ideal of what kind of mother that people want to be. So, you know, really showing pictures of families bonding, things like that. I talk about this in my presentation, but there's this book. I'm like, wait, I want to pull up this one, but I'm not going to. I'm going to pull up the other one.
Yeah, no, we'll put that one. That's not after the watershed. Yeah.
I just have this right here. But this book, Building a Brand Story, which is by Donald Miller, from what Cassandra said about hitting people emotionally, he talks about how products they solve a problem, but we have external problems, you know, for a kitchen item, you know, like a nonstick pan. But the internal problem might be being able to cook dinner faster, or a philosophical problem. And if you hit people like philosophically, psychologically, you're going to really like get them in their heart. You're going to pull them into the story and they're going to want to be involved. And the psychological or philosophical problem might be a working mother who, you know, it feels guilty that she doesn't have time to make a home cooked dinner every night. Well, this pan, it cooks things so quick, it's super easy to clean up. So you can just, you know, you come home from work, we know you're busy, and you can have dinner on the table in 10 minutes. You know, and that's kind of the way that you can turn something from being just a regular average product into something that like hits how people are going to use it in their life and how it's going to improve them and their, you know, what they view as their inside, you know, ideal reality.
Yeah. Same question to you, Sylv, maybe slightly different because the product going from a software to lingerie, it's going to have different attributes. So what's your take?
So for me, I would say it's two major things that I really pay attention to and make sure that we address it really, really well for customers. One, being in fashion niche, you have to appeal to everyone. I don't like to discriminate. You know, I don't want to bring size 0 models and show a beautiful lingerie set on them. It's gonna look good, I'm sure, but you know, at the end of the day, my customer doesn't look like a size 0 model. In fact, maybe in the whole world of females, you know, maybe 5% would look like that. So I want to cater to the 95. I want a real woman in my photo shoots, and I want to show different sizes, different figures. I want us to be talking about, you know, what we can kind of mask and, you know, make look a little bit better if we cheat a little bit. You know, this is what women want. So I need to really appeal to them in that way. So kind of being authentic and being real with my product and how we present them. So that's number 2. And the second one is actually how we support our customers, especially if you have got an online business. This is very different if you've got a brick and mortar store. But if you sell online, you have to be able to communicate what a product can do for you and for your body type. And this is very hard because fittings in fashion play a massive kind of part in terms of your decision making, whether you're going to buy it or whether you're going to send it back once you tried it on at home. So making sure that we've got all sorts of instructions. We do a lot of personal even calls to customers, making sure that they are buying the right size bra. They love it. We always score 5-star reviews because of that personal touch. And we also have a suite of tools where customers can go into on the website and calculate their own bra size. And, you know, we're working on some new initiatives for that as well. So I want to engage with them as much as I can so that this shopping experience is fun. And at the same time, they're going to pick the right product for their body.
So can we done a Mindset Sunday yesterday, and one of the things we were talking about is filters. And now my approach with my daughter, she's 14 years old, and you talk about being authentic and everything else. And it kind of sets this tone of not impossibility, but, you know, like there's filters out there that makes adjustments, right? So it still looks natural, but you've got a filter. But then there's some filters that makes people not look human anymore. And there's this kind of thing I've seen more and more regular is that people, men and women, are looking less like human beings under these filters. And then it's almost like there's a new benchmark to meet. What, starting with you, Anne, what is your take on that? And what was your approach to your children with this? I know they're a lot younger than mine, but I find that as a concern. So does my wife as well. That, you know, you can't set that as a benchmark, because then you're always going to refer back to that. And this is why people might want to go and have plastic surgery to actually start looking like filters rather than does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I actually feel really strongly about this, especially in the space of women. And, you know, I think that there are brands kind of go one or two ways. You know, you really go towards that I'm selling the ideal, I'm selling the sexed up version of myself or my products, or you go the very authentic route. And I think for small businesses, people starting out, you know, that's really what people are looking for. And when they're deciding to shop small, that's what they're looking for, is that kind of authenticity and personal connection. And I do think that we have to be really important to the messages that we send to people through the media, because it is, little girls are growing up with this idea of who they're supposed to be, and boys too. And I think, you know, all of us are a product of what we see in our world around us as we grow up. So, for example, in my brand, I sell to a lot of new mothers who I know are in a sensitive stage of life. They're emotional, you know, physically, they've had a lot of changes, you know, not just their weight, like everything. And so for me, it's really important. I never use professional models. And most of the models that I use have just had their babies. So, you know, most of them are real, they're normal size. And I just think it's important to represent people. Like, we have a section, you know, for more curvaceous plus size women, because everybody at the end of the day wants to be represented. And also, I personally want to do something that I'm proud of. And I think it's time, it really is time for us to stop saying, like, you don't have to be perfect or not real. Like, let's make what is real beautiful, you know, and highlight natural beauty. You know, I'm doing like this course with Ezra Firestone right now, and his brand is all about like highlighting natural beauty when you're older. But I think it's a responsibility of ours. To be honest, I consider it, for me, a responsibility of my responsibility to the customers that I'm supporting, that I represent them through my images, rather, and saying you're okay as who you are, and not you should look like this. Yeah.
Cassandra, what's your take as well with filters? What I'm saying is, I'm not saying you should use, I'm saying here, it's not you should use filters, but where does the line draw from when someone uses a filter for an enhancement and a filter, and then they look like an alien sometimes. You know what I mean? Like men and women, they can just, it gets out of control like a Snapchat filter. It just.
Are you using them, Danny? Because he seems to know so much about filters.
No, it's because I'm always telling my daughter off.
The cat face, or the, like, what is it, a unicorn vomiting rainbow? I feel like that's Danny.
Yeah. Little horns, little devil's horns. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you to stay away from that, Danny. Okay, that's not what you want to do. Especially if you're looking for any Tinder profile.
Cool. If I've gone through a filter, could you imagine what I'd look like without one? Anyway, come on, Cassandra, tell me about filters.
Okay, so first of all I'm fully unfiltered. All my Instagrams are totally real. I have no idea what you're talking about. No, but I totally understand, and I agree with Anne that there is a social responsibility of showcasing real people, real aspects. There is something that audiences gravitate towards for that raw and real content. They want to see people in their natural elements. That's what people gravitate towards most. That's what they like most. And that's what they just have this instant connection to psychologically. Something I really love when you're talking about a social responsibility, especially for women, is when bloggers, influencers, even the Kardashians will do the transformation post. Well, they'll show you the glammed up, I was on the cover and this is how they made my waist super tiny and my boobs super big. And this is my filter in my hair. I mean, all natural here, but then they show this is the reality of it, or this is how I really look. And I love those time lapses to show the beginning to the end. I think that really gives another real approach of this isn't just how this person walked into this field of sunflowers and looked gorgeous on their Instagram post and promoting their new dress. You know, it's about this is how this came to life, and you have to know the process and that there are these tools available to make you look at these aspirational looks, but not that this is just a given, if you will.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. What's your take?
Okay, so I'm really sorry, Cassandra. I cannot hear you at all. And I don't know if Danny is doing this to me to put me out of my comfort zone, because he will say like, please comment to what Cassandra just said. I'm like, I don't know what to say. Okay,
do you want to put it on your phone so you can hear Cassandra in the background? Because there's no reason why I don't control the volumes here. So
I don't know if I believe you, but anyway, let me.
Anyway, Sil, that was all nice things that she said about you.
I hope so. Yeah, of course. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of filters, I don't know. Like on one hand, I feel this is a bit of a catch-22 situation. You know, like if we take ourselves back into that school situation where we've got these popular girls, and I suppose all the girls wanted to be them, right?
Yeah.
And I feel a little bit of that is going on in that social kind of media scene now as well. And if you're creating a brand, especially aiming at females, it's very tough to make that decision, like which way do you want to go? Because on one hand, they kind of, you know, sometimes they want to see a bit of airbrushing going on, and maybe this is for some females quite aspirational. You know what? You have to find the balance. So I feel like with my brand, I'm trying to constantly find a balance. But I think there is a bit of that, you know, wanting to maybe look like somebody else who, and this is because of the media, right? Like this kind of one standard of beauty is being, you know, is being shown for years and years, and it's like stuck in our heads. So we want to look like that, but that's not the reality. But I mean,
but your products are different as well, right? So we're talking lingerie on one side, and then we're talking with Anne's is for new mums. So there's a different there is a different dynamic there, isn't there?
Yeah.
But then you, like I said, you got to work to the percentages. It's like what becomes acceptable that goes out the door. Do you know what I mean? Do you take it from like something that's completely unrealistic, or do you say, no, this is part of good lighting, nice imagery, enhancements and stuff? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah. And I think that, you know, for example, using like that, I use real women and they aren't professional models, but that's not to say if I'm using women who are, you know, a size 10 to 16 instead of a size 0 to 6, that's not to say that I don't have beautiful images, because we still use a professional photographer. You know, we use beautiful settings. And so, you know, by doing that, it's, you know, these and they're edited photos in the sense of editing the lighting and stuff like that, not putting filters through, but like what you do with wedding photos or whatever. But, you know, so those photos still come out beautiful. And it's a way, it's like, okay, look, you don't have to be this way and look beautiful. Look at these images are beautiful too. And you kind of subconsciously see yourself. But I get lingerie is a different world as well, because if we're going to wear nice lingerie, we're going to wear it for a reason.
And we'll leave that bit there. Okay. So
what do you mean?
Moving on. Moving on. Yeah. Cassandra, personal branding. I mean, I know that you do a lot around Helium 10, but what about for building your? I mean, let's just take a little bit about your background. You're from the film industry, right? So you've seen a lot going on down there, movie sets and everything else. What do you do in terms of your personal branding outside of the Helium 10 setup? Is there anything that you do there?
One of the things that I learned from working in film and television is that you want to break that fourth wall. And people love to see behind the scenes content. People love to see how things went down, how it works, what's going on. What can't you get from the on the surface packaging, if you will? And that was one of the most successful things I did working for daytime court shows and behind the scenes for Aquaman live from the red carpet. People want to know. I know, girl. I know. Yes. And we'll talk about that later. But people want to be part of something that they can't normally be a part of. So even my big thing is I love pop-up museums. I love going to those. And people want to know, like, what's the process? What's the walkthrough? I get so many comments on those. I get so much interaction. People like to know about things that they either can experience firsthand or they want to, and they want to get a preview of it. So that's how you kind of break that fourth wall and let people into these unknown factors or, you know, things that they can't predict at the moment or experience themselves.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's super cool. I love that.
What about you, Anne? What are you doing in terms of building your personal brand? And is your brand tied in with your products as well, or do you keep that separate?
I mean, I don't really have like a personal brand that I am trying to grow per se. I am the face, well, one of the faces of my brand. So which I think, especially for a lot of new businesses, I think if you are able to, I think it's a really good idea to be the face of your brand, because people have a lot of distrust, you know, on Amazon, especially people are wary of Asian sellers or big corporations, you know, just in general. And I think especially if you're promoting yourself as more boutique-y, small shop, people just like to see who you are and what you stand for. And I think it's really a lot easier to talk about your brand story and your brand identity if you are the actual one talking about it. So when I started with my brand, I mean, I did my own videos and photos because I didn't have anybody else, and I had babies. So I kind of just used that, not having any idea of the impact that would have. And going onward, you know, it's really been a big thing for me. So I think it's great to kind of be the face. You can interject yourself into your brand. And I also don't think you don't have to feel like you need to look a certain way. Like, look at Gary Vee, right? I mean, Gary Vee, he's a little guy, and he's a lot to handle, and he knows that. And he talks about the percentage of people who don't like him when they first listen, but he brings the value. So you get around his like harsh personality at first. But Cassandra, I love that, the whole behind the scenes thing. That's super cool. We're about to do an Instagram versus reality video, because we have it. We shot video for my products, and it was 4 babies, like little babies, and then my 2 kids. There was nurse moms, there was crying babies, there was things being thrown. So we're putting together a video that is like,
that's what people want to see. They want to know that it wasn't this, you know, super easy process, that here's all the crazy that went behind the scenes. And it's really, you know, it's beautiful.
So over to you, Sylv. Talk to me. You've been building up your personal brand. Would you say it's wrapped around your business itself, or is that a separate entity?
So I've recently set up an Instagram account. If any of you want to follow, please.
Oh, here we go. Look, here goes the plug.
It's Sylv, not Silvana, Sylv Stefanovic. You can find me there. But yeah, it's a very new account, and you know, I think a bit. I'm testing kind of different strategies in terms of how I can build up the audience on Instagram, because it's not easy these days. But the main reason why I set it up is not necessarily to promote my brand. It's actually to give something back. Because I feel, yay, that's me. Thank you. I feel that, you know, I've been pretty lucky in life, and, you know, I do what I love. I've got no pressures I really don't, whether financial or anything else. And, you know, I would love to maybe spend some time on a daily basis kind of talking about my industry, talking about empowering women. My industry is very specific because I work in a 30,000 variations niche, which is super, super risky. Cash flow management has to be spot on. Like, there's returns, you know, there's just so many issues. The fittings as well. So for me, there's so many people going, so many females especially going into fashion, not really understanding what they're getting themselves into. And I was one of them when I started as well. So if you are in lingerie or in swimwear, like, please follow, because hopefully there will be some like interesting tips that I share, kind of, you know, how to swim that lingerie lane a little bit better than not having anybody else to ask.
Yeah, makes sense. What about in terms of content, the types of content, long form, video and stuff? And are you doing much in the way of video, or is it mainly images and text?
Well, I have a YouTube channel for my e-commerce brand, and actually, I think that was a big part of the reason why I had success fairly quickly. I think it's true. Instagram is so saturated. There's so many images, and now with quarantine, it's even more. There's so many images. There's so many videos. So if you're new on Instagram, it is really hard to get out there. And with Instagram, with Facebook, you know, you have to pay a lot. So I think with YouTube, like, I get 15 to 30,000 views per month on YouTube, and I've never paid a cent, mostly because I just haven't had the time to like look into it. So YouTube is one of those things that you can rank a lot easier. And I think, for example, on Instagram, like I found, because I recently started a personal Instagram because I didn't have one. And it was just weird when I was trying to communicate with people about stuff that didn't have to do with my brand. And I found that, you know, people don't want to read, you know, and it's my habits too. You don't want to read that long form type, right? Moondancer.purvita. But people go to Instagram for the images. So I think if you have a message you want to get across on Instagram, you post images that are going to get people's attention, which is basically people just like to see faces, outfits, and travel stuff. And then you can talk in your stories. Whereas YouTube, I think people they commit. Like when they go, they're committed to sit down and listen, and they're expecting to be told a story. So I think YouTube is a really great medium because people will listen to you a lot longer. And if video is not your thing, I think that Pinterest, I mean, if you're a woman, you should, and you sell to women, sorry, not if you're a woman, if you sell to women, 90% of Pinterest users are women, and half of those women have kids. And Pinterest converts for sale way better than any other social media medium. Mm-hmm. And again, Pinterest, people go, they're looking for inspiration, but it's really common. You know, a lot of Pinterest photos will lead to a blog. So if you're into blogging and you feel like you can tell your story through blogging, you can create, you know, the Pinterest photos that are like 5 tips for, you know, this or that, or like, you know, my 5 favorite at-home workouts or whatever. So yeah, I think, you know, Instagram is the thing that everybody spends the most time on, but using it business-wise can be a real challenge if you're not willing to spend a bunch of money and a bunch of time. But YouTube and Pinterest, I think, for free will get you the most bang for your buck. Right.
Okay. Sylvia, what about video? Is you going down that route at some point yourself?
Ladies in lingerie.
I expected this question only because Danny has been on my case for like months, saying when you're gonna start doing videos with everything that you want to kind of, with your messages that you want to pass. So I put one video up last week.
And how did it perform?
You know what? It was okay. Like, to be honest, for me, it was just to test the waters. Really, I didn't prepare for it. It was spur of the moment decision. I just wanted to put it out there because I thought to myself, look, this really is quite scary in my head, takes me out of my comfort zone. Let me just go for it, put it out there, and then next time will be much easier. So yeah, I can imagine for everyone, videos are much tougher, as with pictures, we've talked about kind of, you can do whatever pose you want, and you can test, and it's just much easier. You can do a bit of airbrushing, but with videos, it's very live, it's very real, and it takes a lot of guts, I suppose, to be doing videos on a regular basis.
Yep. Makes sense. Cassandra, you guys do a shit ton of videos at Helium 10. You've even got a room where everyone gets pissed up as well, haven't you? What's the war room down there?
Oh my God.
The tequila room. You guys have a
tequila
room, don't you?
You know, casual. You're all invited when we're out of quarantine, I guess.
Yeah.
In terms of content, I think we do push out a lot of long form content. And I think that's the nature of our business, is that people want tutorials. They want to learn how to's. It's very detailed. And people want, like Anne was saying, they come to YouTube. They're ready for it. They're ready to sit down. They're ready to watch a video and learn. Yeah. But I would say on other social platforms, less is more and the quicker the better. Which, shouldn't be translated to other things in life, but I'm saying it for social. So, thank you. Okay. So, I feel like Danny, poor Danny.
Danny.
Hold on, the eject button. The eject button. I did say to people, we've got the eject button. Look, this one. There you go. And she's back again. Look, we've got her back at the bottom of the screen.
Quicker the better, less is more. I think that's why TikTok has taken off, because people can get these quick how-to tutorials in 60 seconds. I also think engagement, when you were saying how it's oversaturated now, you need something that people can engage with on Instagram. So a carousel swipe of facts or numbered how-tos, things like that. I also believe with Instagram stories, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but if you post more, your engagement goes down. Unless people are really wanting this content, which I find 9 out of 10 times they don't, the first few will perform really highly, and then just stuff starts to drop off. So you want to make sure you're putting your best out there. It's engaging. You don't just want to oversaturate for, just for the heck of it.
Makes sense. Talk to me about TikTok, actually. Has anyone got going with TikTok yet? I know, Cassandra, you threatened about it a while ago. Have you managed to do anything on TikTok?
I did one TikTok. I had a plan to do like the Freedom Ticket course and like go through my journey through TikTok. That did not work out because I felt that I was consuming more time learning TikTok and like orchestrating it versus learning. But I think there's a really great plan in place in the future, perhaps for some social media software companies that'll be leveraging it soon. I think it's a really great platform. I think it's just about finding your niche on there.
Yeah.
I feel like you and Bradley together could be TikTok superstars.
We could get Bradley dancing. He loves to dance. So his yoga. What's he do? Is it step or something?
Zumba.
Oh, Zumba.
Zumba. He has
when he a step teacher or something. No, Zumba teacher. Was he a teacher? Or, yeah. Cool.
Zumba teacher and sumo wrestler.
Oh yeah.
What a combination.
Multi-talented.
Yeah.
I'll have to start charging him for consultation fees.
Yeah, I would literally get on TikTok just to see you and Bradley do, and I feel like that would be entertaining.
Yeah,
Danny,
we're drinking
not so much. Englishmen can't dance.
No, I'm not going on TikTok. Filters. Not without filters. Dance without filters. Yeah, they go down really well. Right, where are we going to go next? Branded by Women. Should we quickly talk about what you're doing there? Cassandra, what will you be talking about at Branded by Women?
Well, Danny, I am going to give 10 social media tactics for female entrepreneurs, and I'm going to go through everything. I'm going to give you how to start and find your niche. Is there a market for your niche? How do you scope out your competitors? And then I'm going to translate it into finding your inner celebrity. How do you embrace that for your social media presence, your aesthetic, your brand voice, tone, everything you need to know. And then we're going to deep dive into the analytic portion of it. How do you measure this? Do you need a little A/B testing? Should you look at which platforms are more profitable, more engaging, and how to leverage that and expand your business?
Excellent. And Anne, what will you be covering?
I am talking about what women really want.
Okay.
So my presentation is on I keep trying, Danny. And the problem is I'm making myself blush and not you. There's still time. We've still got time.
We haven't seen the book yet, by the way. We want.
I know. I'm like,
no.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Is she back again? There she is. I'll get banned.
Danny,
what? You're not that bad.
Because of what's on the cover of that book would mean that we would get
banned. It's a zipper. It's a zipper. This is a cultural issue. Why are we afraid of?
Yeah. So
zippers.
Pink slippers. Right. Okay.
Not ready for this right now.
Right. Tell us more about your presentation. Yeah.
Yes. So I am going to be talking about all things branding, specifically female customers. So how to really develop your branding and your brand message to appeal to female customers. So we are going to talk about your brand story and do a little bit more of a deep dive into the book. I was just talking about building a brand story, which is epic. Like this one, I'm allowed to show this one. Like you guys should go buy this book and read it. Personal brand, whatever kind of a brand. And it's about kind of building storylines for movies. And you kind of do that for your brand. It's super quick read and it's actually really fun. It's a fun process. And I'm going to be talking about using how to like hone your message and really put your brand message and your brand style into everything you do. So that's the thing that I think can get lost, especially when you're selling on Amazon is, you know, things can get disconnected. If you think about your style, your brand colors, you think about it all before you start, then you can put all your content together. Whether it's your written content, you know, your visual content from your website to everything, to your social media, you get it all in one cohesive message. And that's the thing that takes you from looking like an Amazon seller to a professional brand that people will really believe in. So I'm excited.
Sounds good.
I'm so excited for everybody's Cassandra. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get my notes for that one.
Oh, I'm ready for yours, girl.
Sylv, what are you covering?
So I will be talking about how I moved from the corporate environment and started my own business in fashion, which was not easy. I didn't know much about the industry. I didn't have anybody to learn from. I moved to a different country, which is Poland. But, you know, I left Poland 20 years before, so I didn't really understand the marketplace. It was super, super tough. And I think for me, the biggest kind of area was really that mindset of not being employed by anybody, but being your own boss and not being defined by another institution, but creating your own what I'm about and what my brand will be about. So that has been quite challenging, and I will be talking about that.
Cool. So sign off shortly, and give me one or two or takeaways for people that who's listening on the call to be developing their personal brand.
Go for it, Anne.
Sylv, you're gonna get me in trouble. It's just showing Danny.
I can't even hear Anne. Anne, I want to communicate with you, but since Danny got rid of you for a second, now I can't hear you.
Danny, you ruined my game. Like,
no one puts baby in the corner. Is that right? Yeah. All right.
You put me in the corner.
So listen, takeaways. Okay. Come on, let's make this serious. Come on.
Serious. Come on, Danny. Takeaways. Well, I really loved what Cassandra said about being behind the scenes. I think, and showing behind the scenes content. I think that is really fun. And I think that's something people will like to see. And actually, Gary Vaynerchuk talks about that as well when he's talking about building your personal brand, is even if all the content doesn't get posted, if you're starting out, to document everything. Because let's say one day you do make it big, having documented the actual struggle of how you made it. Like maybe before you've made it, people don't really care. But if you've made it, you know, and you have kind of documentation. Yeah. Yeah. If you have documentation of that, then you know, people will really want to see that. So I thought that was awesome, Cassandra. And I think, you know, just authenticity, whether it's your own brand whether it's a personal brand or whether you have a product brand. I think even if you use filters, you can do it in an authentic way, you know?
Cool. Sylv, a couple of takeaways from you.
Takeaways from this call, or?
Yeah, for people that are listening in now, what would you suggest?
Sorry, I couldn't hear a word what Anne was saying, so I don't even know what we're talking about now.
Okay, so what we're talking about is a couple of takeaways before we go for people listening in the call, which will help with their personal branding with social media.
Oh, be yourself, number one.
Yeah.
Don't try to be somebody else. Don't copy too much.
Totally.
Yes, you can have some, whatever, it's a female leader, whoever it is, you can look up to people. But at the end of the day, you have to be your own person and follow your journey and make a stamp for yourself and believe in who you are. Confidence is a big thing that we need to work on as females. That's something that is always at the end of my head whenever I'm making decisions as well. It's like, still go for it, you can do this. So again, you know, being a little bit braver, and also even if you're an introvert, like, you can still do it. You know, I do actually touch on that a little bit in my presentation in Branded by Women. But I don't want females who are typical introverts to feel like they're left behind in terms of creating their own personal branding or branding for their businesses, because that, you know, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You've got so many other skills that, you know, a caring nature and emotion that you can just use to build yourself up.
Cool. And Cassandra?
Well, Danny, based on this call, and my personal philosophy is something I always want people to remember is make it fun. You have to have fun on social media, because people are there to be entertained. People come to social media for a variety of reasons, whether they're bored or they're looking for something or they want to learn about something. And you have to make it fun, because if you don't, people are going to tune you out and they're going to think you're boring, and they're not going to look at your brand. They're not going to look at your business. They're not going to care. I mean, that's basically what it is. And I feel that something with Helium 10, with my personal social, I always bring an element of fun. You want to have fun. You want to be entertained. You want to show people engaged and having a good time. And I think that's something I really love to bring to the forefront, and that all businesses should always strive for. Whether you're selling a cheese grater or lingerie or at-home products, whatever it may be, make it fun and entertaining. Just like this call, Danny. Just like
I was going to say, I don't know how much fun you can get out of a cheese grater, but let's leave that one there. Guys, go and grab a free ticket, brandedbywomen.com. It is next week, and put that book down before you get me sued. Lovely to see you guys. Lovely to see you guys. But we've got to go.
Next week is
We'll
a
see you
really
later.
good one.
I'll be back here 4 p.m. BST tomorrow. Take care.
Oh my God.
Bye.